She calls her mommy, and she wasn't talking about me. The other apartment. A secret life. I followed them, and discovered that my daughter was already living it. But the drawing on the refrigerator? That's what broke me. My husband says she's just a coworker. Our daughter calls her Mommy Lisa. I thought that hurt until I found the condo. I'm 35, male, and I'm writing this because I don't know how to talk to anyone about it. I keep thinking if I get the story down, maybe I'll see things more clearly. I've been with my husband, Timothy, 38M, for 10 years. We got married 6 years ago. We have a daughter, Avery, she's 4. Smart, funny, loves glitter and frogs, wants to be a firefighter and a unicorn simultaneously. I thought we were okay. Tired, sure. Working too much, barely seeing each other between daycare pickups, dishes, bills, and fighting about dumb things like who forgot to buy milk. But okay. Then last month, I was cleaning out Avery's toy chest and found a pink tutu I didn't recognize. It was nice. Like, really nice. Soft fabric, glitter trim, one of those pieces you don't buy unless you want to impress someone. I asked Timothy where it came from. He said a coworker gave it to him for Avery. Just like that. Dismissive. She's nice. Her name's Lisa. I let it go. But something felt off. Not like dramatic movie-style suspicion, just unease. You know that gut-pulling tightness where something doesn't make sense, and your brain keeps looping around it like a bad dream? A few days later, I'm giving Avery a bath and she starts telling me a story about Mommy Lisa. She says Mommy Lisa makes her special pancakes. Mommy Lisa takes her to the zoo. Mommy Lisa lets her watch YouTube on her phone when Daddy's not looking. I froze. I said, gently, "Do you mean Daddy's friend Lisa?" She giggled. "No, Mommy Lisa." That night I asked Timothy again. He brushed it off. Said Lisa had met Avery a couple times when he had to stop by work and couldn't find a sitter. She was sweet to her, that's all. It made me feel petty for asking. Like I was jealous or insecure. So I dropped it. But something was happening. I could feel it in the way Timothy didn't meet my eyes. How he got more texts than usual. How he started using late calls with overseas clients as a reason to take walks at night. We live in Ohio. We don't have overseas clients. So I did something I'm not proud of. I went through his email. I wasn't expecting to find anything dramatic. Just needed to settle my brain. But there it was. A bank notification. Transferred to an unfamiliar account. $2,000. I dug deeper. That account had been active for over a year. Small withdrawals. Big deposits. None of it was shared. Then I found an address. I went there. It was a condo building. New. Clean. Modern. Gated entrance. Not the kind of place you hide someone unless you want them hidden. I didn't go in. I sat in the car for 30 minutes watching the door. At exactly 6:42 p.m., Timothy walked out. With Avery. Behind them? A woman. Blonde. Laughing. Holding Avery's hand like it was second nature. Avery leaned into her like she'd done it 100 times. I didn't confront them. I just drove home. Heart in my throat. Pulse everywhere but my chest. That was 2 weeks ago. Since then, I've done nothing. Said nothing. I've gone through the motions like I'm made of cardboard and string. Timothy acts normal. He still kisses me goodnight. Still eats the meals I make. Still asks how my day was like none of this is real. But something's coming. I don't know what it is. All I know is that the man I built a life with has another life. And my daughter is living inside it. Update, my husband said she was just a coworker. Then I saw our daughter at her condo. Now I know why she calls her Mommy Lisa. I didn't plan on updating this. Honestly, I didn't think I had the guts to do anything after that night. But it's eating me alive. It's been a week since I saw Timothy and Lisa and Avery together outside that condo. A week of pretending I'm not unraveling. Every time Timothy walks into the room, I forget how to breathe. I keep thinking maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe he's not that kind of guy. Maybe there's a version of this where I'm just tired and paranoid and stressed and wrong. And then I open the private browser on my phone and reread the banking history. Then I look at that picture I took from the car. Avery holding Lisa's hand. And I know I'm not wrong. Here's what happened next. The day after the condo, I told Timothy I was thinking of pulling Avery out of daycare, said I wanted to cut costs, maybe have her at home a few days a week. He panicked. Literally flinched. Said that wasn't practical with both of us working. Then he suggested something that made my blood turn to stone. He said, well, Lisa offered to help out sometimes. She has a flexible schedule. I just nodded. But inside? Inside I was screaming. So I started digging again. More carefully this time. I checked our shared calendar. Timothy hadn't logged any of those client calls he claimed to be taking at night. I checked phone records. Hours of calls to one number. I called it from a burner app. Lisa picked up. I didn't say anything. Just listened to her breathing for 3 seconds. Then she said, "Tim?" I hung up. I still haven't confronted either of them. Because I wanted proof. Not just for me. For Avery. So yesterday, while Timothy was in the shower, I grabbed his keys. I drove to the condo. I told myself I was just going to see it. Just to stand there and prove it was real. But I didn't stop at the front door. I went inside. The key worked. There were shoes by the door. A set of Avery's tiny rain boots. A photo of her on the hallway table, framed. Her and Lisa, at the zoo. Avery's smiling. Her whole body relaxed in that way she only ever does with people she trusts. There were drawings on the fridge. Avery's handwriting. I recognized it. She's labeled Lisa as Mommy L. I nearly dropped to my knees. There's no other way to say this. My husband has given our daughter a second home. With another woman. And she thinks it's normal. I left the condo in a daze. I drove back, parked the car, went inside, and made dinner. I don't know why. Habit. Survival. Cowardice. Timothy walked in later, kissed me on the cheek, and said, "Thanks, babe." Babe. The man who built a second home for our daughter behind my back still calls me babe like nothing's changed. But something has changed. Me. This morning, I called a lawyer. Quietly. Just a consultation, for now. Because I'm not just worried about cheating anymore. I'm worried about custody. Avery's too young to understand what's happening. But I'm not. And I refuse to let my child grow up thinking it's normal to have two mothers and not know which one is real. Update 2. My husband made a second home for our daughter. I finally confronted him, and now everything makes less sense. I didn't sleep the night after I found the drawings on Lisa's fridge. It was like a switch flipped in my brain. I couldn't stop picturing Avery sitting at that table, coloring between the lines, calling some other woman mommy. I felt like I'd been replaced, like I was the understudy in my own family. A placeholder. A prop. So yesterday, I did it. I confronted Timothy. It wasn't planned. It wasn't even loud. There was no dramatic "we need to talk." I was just making coffee and he walked in like it was any other morning, whistling, wearing that hoodie he always wears when he's relaxed, the one I bought him 3 Christmases ago. I looked up and said, "How long has Lisa been Avery's second mom?" He froze. Didn't speak. Didn't blink. Just stood there like a man trying to figure out how much of his life just crumbled. I said, "I went to the condo." His shoulders dropped. Not like a man caught. More like a man relieved. He sat down slowly and said, "I wanted to tell you. I just didn't know how." Which, honestly, might be worse than denial. I asked him how long it had been going on. He didn't answer directly. Just said, "It started small. She helped out once when I was stuck. Avery liked her. It snowballed." I asked if he loved her. He didn't answer. That told me everything. Then I asked the real question, "Why didn't you tell me?" He looked at me finally, directly, and said, "Because I didn't want to break this." "This?" I asked. "What is this, Tim?" And he said something I'll never forget. "You and I, we're better as a team, not as a couple." I felt like someone had dumped ice water down my spine. A team. That's what I'd become to him. A co-manager. A logistical partner. The other half of a calendar app. I asked, "So where does that leave us?" He shrugged. Said, "I don't know. I was hoping we could just keep things how they are. Avery's happy. You and I function. Why ruin it?" I laughed. I laughed so hard I scared myself. Because it wasn't funny. It was horrifying. The man I married, the father of my child, built a lie so large it has its own living room, and his first instinct was to maintain the arrangement. Like we're roommates running a shared business. Here's the worst part. He genuinely didn't think he was doing anything wrong. He said he never cheated, technically. That Lisa wasn't that to him. That he needed help and needed stability and didn't want to hurt anyone. But he did. He hurt me. And even worse, he's reshaping Avery's understanding of love and trust without even realizing it. I told him I'm getting a lawyer. He nodded. Didn't fight me. Just said, "Okay. Let's keep it civil. For her. For her." He's still pretending this is some logical conversation between two adults with differing goals, not the emotional dismemberment of a marriage. I didn't cry in front of him. But later, when I tucked Avery in and she whispered, "Can Lisa come to my birthday?" I sat on the bathroom floor and broke. Because I don't know how to protect her from this. Not without making her choose between the woman who gave birth to her and the one she calls Mommy Lisa. Update 3, my daughter calls her Mommy Lisa. My husband says I'm part of the team. And then Lisa showed up at my door like we weren't living inside a lie. It was a Thursday. The kind of gray sky weekday where everything feels suspended, no wind, no noise, just that eerie pressure like something's about to snap. I was folding laundry when she knocked. Lisa. No warning. No text. Just a knock. Soft. Twice. I didn't answer right away. I stood there, holding one of Avery's tiny shirts, frozen like an animal that just heard rustling in the woods. Second knock. I opened the door and there she was. Her hair was tied back, no makeup, holding a canvas tote bag and looking like she hadn't slept. Her eyes didn't flinch when they met mine. But they didn't blink either. "Can I talk to you?" she asked. "Please. Just 5 minutes." I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. Because she wasn't stepping inside my house. She looked almost relieved. Like she expected me to slam the door in her face. I didn't say anything. She started talking. She told me she never meant for this to happen. That she met Avery once accidentally at some work event. That she made her laugh and felt something shift. That she didn't plan to stay in our lives. But Timothy kept asking her to help out. To keep Avery company. To pick her up from daycare just this once. And she kept saying yes. I should have said no, she said. I know that now. Then she told me about Eden. Her daughter. Stillborn at 34 weeks. 3 years ago. She said it like the words had physically ripped something loose in her chest. I didn't even realize I was slipping, she said. Until one day Avery called me Mommy Lisa and I didn't correct her. She looked at me then, eyes full of something raw. I'm not trying to take your place. But for a little while, I let myself pretend there was a place for me at all. I could have screamed at her. But instead, I asked, "Do you love him?" She shook her head slowly. "No. Not the way he wants me to. I don't think he even knows what he wants." She hesitated. Then she added, "I think he was using both of us. Just in different ways." I didn't respond. Because I already knew. I think I'd known for a while. Timothy never built a double life to hurt us. He did it because it was easier. He let someone else hold the parts of his life that made him feel needed. Lisa. Me. Avery. We weren't people to him, we were functions. And the part that hurts the most? I accepted that role for years. Lisa said she would step away. That she wouldn't fight. That she wanted what was best for Avery, even if that meant disappearing completely. "I'm sorry," she said finally. "I just wanted you to hear it from me." And then she left. No dramatic ending. No begging. Just walked back to her car and drove away like she was vanishing from a dream. I went back inside, sat on the floor of the hallway, and stared at Avery's drawing on the wall. A house with 4 figures. Stick arms and shaky smiles. One of them labeled me. One of them Daddy. One Lisa. And one oddly had no name at all. Just a heart drawn around it. That one was supposed to be me. But she didn't know what to call me. That image hit me harder than anything Lisa said. I've been here. Every day. Making meals. Paying bills. Cleaning up messes. Holding this whole damn life together with duct tape and calendar reminders. But my daughter didn't know what to call me. I sat there until the light started to change. Until I could hear Avery's soft singing upstairs. And I realized. I'm not angry at Lisa anymore. Not even at Timothy. I'm angry at myself. For shrinking. For staying small so someone else could be the center of the room. For being the team member instead of the mother. But that ends here. Because Lisa stepped back. And I'm stepping forward. I called the lawyer that night. I said, let's stop waiting. Let's start filing. Because I'm done watching my life from the sidelines. And next week, in court, I'm going to stand up for myself. Not with rage. With proof. With presence. And whatever happens in that room? I'll be the one holding Avery's hand when it's over. Final update, I didn't get revenge. I got something harder, clarity. I always thought closure would feel like the click of a lock. A satisfying little snap where everything lines up and makes sense. It doesn't. Closure is messy. It's slow. It's walking barefoot through broken glass with your head held high because you're tired of crawling. This morning was court. And tonight, I'm typing this in bed while Avery sleeps beside me, arms flung across my stomach, mouth slightly open, breathing soft like a metronome. The world is quiet, and I finally have enough stillness to realize it's over. The legal part, at least. I woke up before my alarm, showered in silence, got dressed in the dark. I wore navy. Simple, clean, like armor. Timothy was already there when I arrived. He didn't look at me. Not once. He sat across the aisle like a stranger. Not the man who once held our daughter's tiny body in his arms while crying. Not the man I spent 6 years with. Just a person I used to know, who now felt like a paper cut I kept pressing against out of habit. His lawyer was polished, prepared, argued that Timothy hadn't broken any laws, that Lisa provided additional emotional support, that he never endangered Avery, never denied me access, never failed to provide. All true. All irrelevant. Because the question isn't whether he broke something. The question is whether he bent it until it stopped looking like love. My lawyer, God bless her, didn't waste time. She called it what it was, manipulation by omission. Not everything harmful is illegal, she said. And not every threat to a child's stability looks like a bruised knee. Sometimes it looks like confusion. Like conflicting attachments. Like a child who doesn't know which mommy tucks her in at night. Then she handed the judge a folder. Inside, the drawings from Lisa's fridge. Photos of the condo. Messages Timothy sent where he talked about wanting to keep both things going for Avery's sake. There was no outburst. No objection. Timothy just sat there, folding the hem of his sleeve over and over again like it might save him. I was asked to speak last. And I surprised myself. I thought I'd be angry. I thought I'd let it all out, years of resentment, confusion, grief, fury. But when I stood up, all that came was calm. I said, I'm not here to punish him. I'm here to protect her. I told them about Avery's dream. The one where she got lost at the zoo and no one came. I said, that's what this has been for her. A beautiful lie with a hidden exit. One parent here. One there. 2 houses. 2 rules. And one mother just trying to stay real in the story. I didn't cry. Not then. The judge listened, took notes, and then made the ruling. Primary custody, me. Supervised visits for Timothy. Co-parenting therapy required before any modifications. I left the courtroom before he could say anything. I didn't want his words anymore. I've already built enough scar tissue from his silences. I picked up Avery from my sister's place. She ran toward me like she always does, but this time, something felt different. Heavier. She threw her arms around my neck and whispered, "Did the judge fix it?" I said, "He made sure we'll be okay." That was enough for her. She didn't ask about Daddy. She didn't ask about Lisa. Later that night, we ate cereal on the floor while watching cartoons. I let her pick the episode. She chose one about a superhero who lost her powers but still saved the day. She said, "That's like you." And that's when I cried. Not a meltdown. Not a scene. Just silent tears while she rested her head on my shoulder. That's the part no one tells you about being betrayed. It's not the moment you find out. It's not the confrontation. It's not even the courtroom. It's afterward. It's sitting in your quiet house realizing you still have to rebuild a life out of ashes. That the victory doesn't taste sweet, it tastes like dust. It's looking at your child and realizing you can't shield them from all the mess, but you can show them how to survive it. Timothy texted later. "Hope you're happy. You got what you wanted." I didn't reply. Because what I wanted wasn't punishment. It was presence. I wanted to stop feeling like a ghost in my own house. Like a supporting character in my daughter's life. Like someone whose name only gets said when the real fun is over. I wanted to matter again. Not to Timothy. To me. Lisa hasn't reached out. I don't think she will. She meant it when she said she'd step back. And weirdly, I believe she loved Avery in her own way. I think she thought she was helping. That's the part that still messes me up. Everyone thought they were helping. No one asked what it would cost. It cost me my peace. My trust. My voice. But I've reclaimed it. Bit by bit. Quietly. Stubbornly. Like a woman tearing down a second house brick by brick until only one stands. The right one. Ours.